I is FaSho. This is Bud Notes News.
DBFM Entertainment. DBFM Entertainment. Your brain is FaSho, man. Your brain is FaSho, man. DBFM Entertainment.
Welcome to another episode of Bud Notes News on the DBFM Entertainment channel. Today we are covering topics from my normal weekly newsletter. First topic we'll be covering today is a survey showing that many medical cannabis patients cease using opioids. Now, opioids are a big topic currently in the nation and currently in the realm of medical cannabis, as it is a great alternative. Now, the study is from Chicago, Illinois, showing that more than 2 out of 3 medicinal medical marijuana patients substitute cannabis in place of opioids, according to survey data compiled by the ACLARA Research, which is a Chicago-based consulting firm. Now, 67% of respondents reported that they ceased their opioid use after initiating cannabis therapy, and 29% of respondents said that cannabis allowed them to decrease the use of opioids. Beautiful thing. Now, the findings are similar to those prior surveys concluding that patients who use cannabis therapeutically typically reduce or cease their use of opioids and other prescription pharmaceuticals. And according to an October 21st academic paper, which was published on ssrn.com, the enactment of medical marijuana access laws is associated with a $2.40 decrease in per person prescribed opioid spending among the ages between 18 and 39. Previous studies have drawn similar conclusions. So, per person between 18 and 39, people are spending about $2.50 less on opioids thanks to medicinal cannabis. Now, on November 1st, members of President Trump's Opioid Commission rejected the notion that cannabis access is associated with a reduced rate of opioid abuse and mortality. But, with contrast, the U.S. National Institute on Drug Abuse, which we talked about last episode, acknowledges that available studies, quote, cumulatively suggest that medical marijuana products may have a role in reducing the use of opioids, close quote. So thank you, Chicago, for showing this research that cannabis is indeed an alternative to opioids. We will be touching on this subject more and more as things come up in it. Next topic, we go over to Trenton, New Jersey, where Governor-elect Phil Murphy has campaigned that a pledge to legalize and regulate the adult use of cannabis in New Jersey. The incoming Democrat governor replaces Chris Christie, a Republican, who publicly opposed liberalizing adult use of medical marijuana. Commenting on Murphy's election last week, Normal Executive Director Eric Altieri said that, quote, Normal looks forward to working with Governor-elect Murphy and other stakeholders in the state to end the disastrous policy of marijuana prohibition and to implement the moral, economic, and scientifically sound policy of legalizing and regulating in the Garden State, close quote. According to a poll, 65% of New Jersey voters, quote, support the legalization of marijuana, close quote. The Senate President Stephen Sweeney said that he intends to move an adult use regulation measure to the governor's desk within the first 100 days of the new administration. And by contrast, newly appointed Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin has called for the committee hearings to further debate the issue. This concludes that 8 states have enacted laws regulating the adult use and retail sales of cannabis. Each of those states did so with a passage of voter-initiated ballot measures, and no state to date has enacted adult use by legislative vote. So the people are wanting this, not the legislatives. We move a little west to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where CBD products are sold mislabeled. This is a study in Philadelphia. These are online retailers, and their products are mislabeled. Retail products marketed and sold online as CBD extracts are typically mislabeled with regard to their potency and ingredients, according to findings published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. A research team led by the University of Pennsylvania analyzed the content of 84 CBD-infused products, including 31 different companies. And only 30% of the products contained percentages of CBDs that were in 10% of the amount advertised. Liquid CBD extracts formulated for vaporizing were the most likely to be mislabeled, and some products which claimed they were THC-free actually did have THC in them. Now, a prior study by the team similarly identified inaccuracies in the labeling of the percentages of cannabinoid contents in edible cannabis products as well. Now, quote, "There are currently no standards for producing, testing, or labeling these oils," close quote, said the study's lead author, Marcel Miller, in a press release. Quote, "Selling these oils without oversight, there is no way to know what is actually in the bottle," close quote. Now, federal law classifies cannabidiol as a Schedule I controlled substance. However, DEA representation in recent months has publicly acknowledged that it is not a priority for the agency to target those who use products medicinally, CBD products. So, federal law classifies CBD as a Schedule I controlled substance, which was done recently, which is a muddied mess of interpretation of terms and things of that nature. So, head back east into New York, Albany, New York, where PTSD patients are now eligible for cannabis therapy. Legislation signed into law on Saturday permits patients diagnosed with PTSD to use eligible medical cannabis products. Now, there's a Democrat Governor, Andrew Cuomo, signed S 5629/A7006 into law last week. The law took effect immediately upon passage. New York is the 23rd state to explicitly permit the use of cannabis for symptoms of PTSD. And according to a nationwide survey conducted by the American Legion and published earlier this month, more than 1 in 5 military veterans engage in the use of cannabis for therapeutic purposes. Way to go, New York. Thank you for letting our veterans take advantage of this safe and effective alternative for their PTSD, which they have obtained serving our country. PTSD is another topic that will come up frequently, as it is starting to be recognized as treatable with cannabis. So opioid epidemic and PTSD being safely controlled with cannabis therapy. Now, our last topic here on this episode of Bud Notes News. There's a study showing that oral THC mitigates the symptoms of sleep apnea. This is done again in Chicago, Illinois, which says that the use of oral THC mitigates sleep apnea symptoms compared to a placebo, according to clinical trial data published online ahead of print in the journal Sleep. Investigators at the University of Illinois Chicago assessed the efficacy of dronabinol treatment in 73 adults diagnosed with moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea. They reported that oral THC administration prior to bedtime reduces the symptoms severely and improves the subjective sleepiness. And the results of the prior clinical trial in 2013 similarly reported that, quote, dronabinol treatment may be a viable alternative or adjunctive therapy in selected patients with OSA. So, I think people know that cannabis can make you sleepy. I am definitely one to fall asleep very easily when consuming cannabis, which is why I typically do it at nighttime. It helps me sleep very well. So, glad it's being recognized and utilized and provided for people who are in need and cannot sleep, as the alternative treatments are dangerous. And that seems to be the recurring theme, that the alternatives that cannabis replace are not only less effective, but quite possibly harmful. So cannabis, again, is not only a great alternative, effective alternative, but a safe alternative. You don't want to be getting people sick off medicines that should make them feel better. So, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Bud Notes News. Again, I is FaSho Mayn on the DBFM Entertainment channel. Today we did a quick coverage of medical cannabis replacing opioids, of New Jersey governor-elect hoping to legalize the adult use of marijuana. A study showing CBD products being mislabeled, which is very unfortunate. People can rely on that for very serious medical conditions, and if their products are mislabeled, they may mistakenly think that CBD doesn't work, but maybe their product was just mislabeled. And again, New York is allowing patients with PTSD to access cannabis medicinally, and in Chicago, they're showing that THC mitigates sleep apnea, symptoms of sleep apnea. So, good things happening. Cannabis providing health and replacement to alternative medicines. Thank you for all your efforts. Chicago, New York, Philadelphia. And thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out more channels. Check out more videos. DBFM franchise on the rise. Staying busy, doing things. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good week, y'all.